Welcome to another motocross action video. Today we are testing the 2023 GASGAS MC350F. Now this is actually the first time the Motocross Action has tested this bike. It is the second year that GASGAS has produced a 350 motocross model. You guys might remember KTM bought GASGAS and first started producing GASGAS motorcycles in 2021, but they didn't have a 350 4-stroke in their lineup. They also didn't have a 250 2-stroke in their lineup. Then in 2022, they added both of those bikes to their lineup, but we couldn't get our hands on one. We asked, we begged KTM, we begged GASGAS, hey, give us a 350, we love those bikes. They didn't have one for us, so now for 2023, we have the GASGAS MC350F, the motocross version. Super excited to ride it today and break it down for you guys all about this bike. We know the ins and outs of the engine, this chassis, the triple clamps on the suspension, and we're gonna share all we know about the MC350 based off of our few years on the KTM 350 in this video. The GASGAS MC350F is a lot of fun to ride on the track. Connor Stiers was our test rider in the video today, and he was talking about this is one of the best bikes he's ever ridden, and one of the most fun bikes he's ever ridden. When you talk about the 350 versus a 450, there's no 350 class. You can't race this in the 250 class, you can only race it in the 450 class. So why would anyone ever want to buy a bike that is lower in cc's, lower in horsepower than the rest of the riders on the track? Well, you do it, 1, because it's more fun to ride, 2, because it's possibly safer to ride, and 3, because maybe you can even go faster on it. Why would I say that? It's only 1 pound lighter than the GASGAS 450, but it feels a lot lighter on the track because there's less rotating mass inside of the engine. I've explained this on a few different videos, but imagine you have a spinning top. You spin it on your kitchen table. Let's say the top weighs just a couple ounces. It spins for a while, but then it tips over. If you touch it, it'll fall to the side and then straighten itself out again. Now imagine you have another spinning top that weighs 10 pounds. You get that thing going fast enough in your kitchen counter and you touch it, it's not going anywhere. Long story short, the piston and all the rotating mass inside of the 450 engine is a lot heavier, bigger than it is on the 350 with the piston, crank, and everything that's rotating mass inside of the engine. So because it's lighter and less rotating mass inside of a 350 engine, that means that you can lean it over into corners easier. It doesn't pop up out of ruts as fast as a 450 does. So that's what we talk about when we talk about centralizing weight, lower center of gravity. All those things help with the handling of a motorcycle. A GASGAS 350 will always handle better and be easier to ride than a GASGAS 450 because of the less rotating mass, because of that lighter feel of the engine on the track. What is the horsepower difference? Well, the GASGAS 450, it peaks out at 57.5 horsepower with 36 foot-pounds of torque. The GASGAS 350, it is only slightly lower on horsepower, from 57 to the 450 to 54.6 for the 350. As for torque, the 450 has 36 foot-pounds of torque, the 350 29.4 foot-pounds of torque, and not to mention the GASGAS 350 is also stronger on peak horsepower than a stock Suzuki 450. So this thing is still a fast motorcycle and it's still fairly close to a 450, but the big difference is all the power on the GASGAS 350 is found in the top end. This thing revs out to 13,400 RPM, and that is where you find peak horsepower on a 350 from either KTM, Husky, and now GASGAS. You have to rev and you have to be comfortable doing that to get the most power out of this bike. If you ride it low in the RPM, you're not going to get all the power out of this bike, and yes, it's going to be fun. It's more bottom end than a 250, but it's not going to be what you need to keep up with other 450 riders. I've had the chance to ride a lot of awesome 250F models. I've ridden a lot of stock bikes, to mod bikes, to full factory race bikes, and I got to tell you guys, a stock 350 is the closest thing you can get to a mod 250. If you're a guy who likes to practice a lot and you're not worried about racing in the 250 class, you're a vet rider who doesn't mind maybe racing in the 450 class, 350 is a great bike for you. Talking about the handling of the GASGAS 350, this was Connor Steyer's first ever time on a GASGAS 350 and first time on a 354 stroke in general. He talked about the forks being really soft and diving coming into jumps and diving coming into corners. Why is that? The WP Exact Air forks are very soft on this bike, and the shock is also soft as well. The GASGAS model is made to be more tailored to a vet rider, a novice rider. Suspension settings are a lot more plush, comfortable, and better for lighter and slower riders. If you're a faster rider, you're definitely going to want to up the air pressure on the forks, and you're definitely going to want to eventually get them valved for you to keep up with the rest of the riders on the track, because the suspension settings are so soft on this bike. This also comes with the forged aluminum triple clamps, and those are different than what KTM and Husky have had for the last few years. KTM and Husky have the CNC machine clamps. Those are more like aftermarket clamps, and you get those on your stock KTM or Husky. These ones, forged aluminum clamps, same material and the same type of triple clamp that Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, and Suzuki use all on their stock motorcycles. Basically, it has a little more flex in the front end, so that means it's not as precise in the corners, but it is a little bit nicer over the braking bumps and hard chop. Talking more about this bike, the aesthetics are awesome. All of the MXA test riders gravitate towards this bike because of the looks and because of how it rides on the track. It's got this chromoly steel frame, which we love, but it's painted cherry red, and all of our test riders drool over it, especially when it's brand new. The all red plastics are pretty, and it's also got silver handlebars, matching silver triple clamps, and matching silver wheels. Overall, silver and red look is ultra trick, and we all like what the GASGAS MC350F looks like. For 2023, this bike is exactly the same as last year. The only updates are the graphics slightly changed, and the price got bumped up to $9,899 for the 2023 season. Other things that we don't like about this bike, the rear brake spring, it breaks often. I always replace it with a Honda rear brake spring, much more durable. Also, the preload ring on the shock sets your sag. That's what you tighten to raise or lower your sag. That thing blows apart super easily. Plastic, it falls apart if you start hammering it with a chisel and start hammering it with a sag tool. Long story short, KTM and Husky, they're updated their shocks for 2023, and that's what we can expect for this bike, a better and more high-tech and more durable preload ring on the shock. For 2023, you just gotta suffer with what you got for now. The GASGAS MC350F is a very popular bike in the MXA stables. All of our test riders gravitate towards 350s because they're fun to ride. This chromoly steel chassis is resilient, easy to break in, it's comfortable on the track, and it is a lot, I would say, softer and more compliant than the new 2023 KTM and Husky frames and swing arms. GASGAS 350, it's going to get used a lot this year. Be sure to stay tuned for a future issue of Motocross Action Magazine, where we will be talking more about this bike, breaking it apart for you guys. check out more motocross action bike tests on our website and on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with our latest videos. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.